Hi friends, happy Wind Down Wednesday. I'm so glad you're here with us this evening. Find someplace cozy to sit and we will get started. In school, we have been learning about the definition of so many words. After we define a word, we put that word on our word collector chart. In school, we have learned about 3 new words. The 3 words we learned about were heritage, culture, and tradition. We're going to continue to talk about those 3 words in class. We already discussed how a tradition is something that repeats. It usually is something that you do with a family member or a friend, and it is something that you do every year, or it might be something you do every month or every week. Some common traditions are every winter you might decorate a tree, or maybe every birthday your family sings a certain song. Or maybe it's a tradition for your family to light candles during certain holidays. You might bake cookies on a specific holiday every year. Maybe every Friday you go to a certain friend's house. It's something that repeats. It's a tradition. And usually traditions are connected with holidays. They don't have to, but we often see that. We talked about how the word heritage has to do with the clothing that you wear, the food that you eat, the activities you enjoy doing. And I shared with you in class how every single month in the year we celebrate a heritage. We are currently celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. I even have my Hispanic Heritage Month earrings on. Let's learn a little bit more about Hispanic Heritage Month. Hispanic Heritage Month is an annual celebration of the history and culture of the United States Latino and Hispanic communities. Hispanic Heritage Month will last from September 15th through October 15th. The event recognizes how these communities of people have influenced, which means used their power to have an important effect on something, and they contributed, which means they gave something in order to help to America in a positive way. The term Hispanic or Latino means a person is of Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, South or Central American, or other Spanish culture or origin. So since we started talking about heritage this week, I thought it would be just the right time to share with you about our multicultural bin. Our multicultural bin is something I haven't introduced to you yet, but you're getting a sneak peek tonight. In our multicultural bin, there are special items that are connected to certain cultures. Throughout the day, I will give students a chance to sit with one of the multicultural items from the bin. You can pick one out. So I'm going to show you them this evening, and I can tell you a little bit more about them in school, but I'm just going to show you them quick now so that you have an opportunity to see the different items that are in that bin. Oh, you can see all these special animals on this scarf. Africa has a lot of zebras and giraffes and elephants. This is a Lion King stuffed animal. Lion King takes place in Africa. Oh, here are South African socks. We can see it says South Africa, and then we can see a picture of a woman. Oh, this is a special item that was made in Mexico. Ooh. This item is connected to Asian culture. There are a group of people who are Amish. They wear outfits like this. Ooh, look at the outfit that she's wearing. Oh, look at this special item. We can see a sombrero. Ooh, and take a look at this special clothing. Oh, look at the fabric on this item. And I wonder what she's carrying on her head. I wonder if it's a tradition in her culture to carry a basket on her head. I wonder what's inside. Ooh, raise your hand if you are Irish. That might be your heritage. Oh, this girl is from Romania. She's wearing an outfit that you might see someone wearing in Romania. This turtle is from Turkey. And here is another item where we see fabric that reminds us of Asian culture. We are going to continue to discuss how we live in the United States and how there's many people from across the world that come to our country. Our country is the United States. I thought it might also be special to show you where the United States is and where Mexico is. Here's the United States. It's that purple area. Underneath, we can see Mexico. This is Southern America. And this area in between Mexico and Southern America is called Central America. And we just talked about how many people who are Latino live in Southern America or Mexico or somewhere in Central America. Ooh, I have one more special item from our multicultural bin. Ooh, this is called a totem pole. Do you know what a totem pole is? This evening, I thought we would read not one, not two, not three, but 4 books because I couldn't choose which one I liked the best. So we're going to listen to 4 books, and all 4 of them are connected to Hispanic heritage. Are you ready? You might want to listen to all of the stories at one time, or you might want to listen to one story each evening. Ooh, this story is called Frida by Jonah Winter, illustrated by Anna Wan. Magdalena Carmen Frida Kahlo was born in Mexico in 1901. This is the story of how she learned to paint, how painting saved her life, and why her paintings are like no one else's. Like Frida's art, it is a work of the imagination, but it is also true. Hey, we just learned in class about the difference between realistic and imaginatory. So the author is telling us that we're going to see in her art that she has a great imagination, but we're also going to see that Her imagination often shows information that is true. Frida. For my mother. To the little artist who is in your heart, Frida enters the world. For little Frida, the world is Mexico. Her house is a blue house. It is in the town of Coyoacan. I'm remaining open to continuous learning, one of our habits of mind, because I too am learning information about Spanish heritage, including the language. Frida's father is an artist and a photographer. He teaches her how to use a paintbrush. Frida's mother takes care of 6 daughters. Often she is tired. Often Frida is lonely, even though she has sisters. Enter, stage left, Frida's imaginary friend. Her name is also Frida. All of a sudden, Frida falls very ill. She's in bed for months. There's something wrong with one of her legs. Even her imaginary friend can't cheer her. That's when Frida teaches herself how to draw. Drawing saves her from being sad. What is something you like to do when you feel sad? After Frida gets well, she still wants to make art, so she paints little paintings. They are copies of other paintings. Painting onto photographs is what Frida's father does for a living. He teaches her how to do this too. Oh, so she's remaining open to continuous learning from her dad, who knows and has a lot of schema on painting on photographs. Frida also paints things she sees through a microscope. She loves looking at things very closely. At school, Frida studies science. She is bored. School is too easy. One day, Frida is riding the bus home from school. A horrible accident happens. A trolley runs into the bus. Frida almost dies. In the hospital, it is painting that saves her once again. Painting is like her imaginary friend. It is there whenever she wants it. It keeps her company. It keeps her from giving up hope. After the accident, life will never be the same for Frida. She will walk with a cane when she is able to walk. Her body will hurt always. So it sounds like she needs to persist while using her cane to help her walk. But Frida doesn't cry or complain. Instead of crying, she paints pictures of herself crying. It's okay to cry. All feelings are okay. We've learned at school how it's so helpful to reset when you're having some emotions like crying, though. And we know so many calming techniques to use to help us reset. Every morning, we learn a calming technique. Which one is your favorite? Tell someone at home. When she can't leave her bed, she paints in bed. When her whole torso, which is her belly, is put in a cast, she paints on the cast. Wow, she's really good at the habit of mind, creating, imagining, and innovating. I've never heard of someone painting on their cast. Nothing can stop Frida from painting because she's so often alone, unable to leave her house. She has to use her imagination, creating, imagining, and innovating. She paints what she sees in her heart on top of what she sees with her eyes. It's almost like painting on photographs. She paints little magical scenes with words at the bottom. All over Mexico, people paint these kinds of scenes. Sometimes they are scenes of accidents with angels coming to the rescue. They are like prayers for people who are sick. They are called ex votos. Frida paints ex votos of herself when she is sick or in pain. Frida imitates no one in her style. That means she doesn't copy any other artist. She likes to be unique. Which reminds me, our heritage is what makes us unique. It's so important to celebrate how unique we are. In museums, people still look at them and weep, which means cry, and sigh and smile. She turns her pain into something beautiful. It is like a miracle. The end. Viva Frida, which means long live Frida. I'm wondering, do you connect to Frida? Do you like to paint when you feel sad? What do you like to paint? All right, let's read our next story. The next story is called Book Fiesta. And I chose this book because this reminds me of a tradition that my family did when I was your age. I can't wait to tell you about it. Book Fiesta, celebrate Children's Day, Book Day. There's a note in the back of the book that I would love to read to you. Dear friends, this is a note from the author. Children are special, aren't they? Every single one. Books are special too. It's fun and important to connect them. When I learned that Mexico celebrates El Dia del Niño, which is the Day of the Child, on April 30th, I thought, oh, I like the idea of celebrating children, of having a kids' day. Hooray! And let's add books to the party. Let's celebrate children and books every day of the year, and then have an anniversary party on or about April 30th. So it sounds like he wants to make it a tradition on April 30th to celebrate children and books. Since 1996, librarians, teachers, parents, and people who want to share book joy have been planning book fiestas, events that link or connect children to books, languages, and cultures. Celebrations are held at home, museums, community centers, bookstores, parks, schools, and libraries. Together, we are growing a nation of readers. So, Kids Day is a tradition that my grown-ups taught my brothers and I about. Because there's a Mother's Day and a Father's Day, they decided there should be a Kids Day. And Kids Day was on the day after the last day of school. And we got to pick a special toy. We got to eat whatever we wanted to choose for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We did a special activity. So Kids Day in my house was a tradition that was really fun, and I remember it now that I'm a grown-up. So that's why traditions are so special. Book Fiesta. Book Fiesta. Oh, you're going to see in this book, friends, that there's English words and Spanish words. For Candace, muse of my colores. Muse means inspiration. Hey, that reminds me. In class, our letter of the day was Z, and our quote of the day was zealously motivate others, which means with great energy, motivate others. For the children, for my editor, Adriana Dominguez, a DIA champion, and for the members of the Reforma and ALSC who connect children and books. Book Fiesta! Celebrate Children's Day / Book Day by Pat Mora, illustrated by Rafael Lopez. Hooray! Today is our day, El Dia de los Niños. Let's have fun today reading our favorite books. Toon Toon, Children's Day, Book Day. And then here we can see those words in Spanish. And also, everything I just read in English is over here in Spanish. We read in English and Spanish, in Chinese and Navajo too. We read by ourselves. We read with a friend. And we read at the library too. Oh, in class, remember you wrote about a character going to the library? Do you remember the topic that your character wanted to read about? Our families tell us stories while we listen and play. We read libros, which is books, together in cars and planes and trains. We read to our puppies and kittens and to lizards in our yard. We read riding an elephant. Limos montados en un elefante. I took a responsible risk and read the Spanish part. I wasn't sure how I was going to do, but I persisted and tried anyway. Or sailing with a whale. We read in a long submarine. Or floating in a hot air balloon. Then, snug in our beds, we read to the moon. I love how creative the author and illustrator were to have us move the book sideways and fly away in our books. Toon toon. The end. All right, let's move along to our third book. The Party for Papa Luis. Oh, again, we see some Spanish words on the front. La Fiesta para Papa Luis. By Diane Gonzalez Partrand, illustrated by Alejandro Galindo. What do you think this story might be about? The Party for Papa Luis. It might be Louise. I'm going to say Louis, but I can double check to make sure that I'm saying that correctly later. We're going to soon learn about the habit of mind, striving for accuracy, wanting to make sure that we are reading words accurately. And that reminds me, in school we learned about the word fluency, which means reading with speed and accuracy, reading the words correctly with speed. So I'm going to double check this to see if it's Louis or Louise. I'm going to say Louis right now. For my dearest writing friends, Judy, Kathleen, Katie, and Lupe, with love and a smile. This is the party for Papa Luis. This is the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. This is the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Louis. Ooh, are you noticing a pattern? Something happening over and over? What is happening? Let's see if the pattern continues. These are the children who counted the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. This is Mama Marta, who hurried the children who counted the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. This is the cake made by Mama Marta, who hurried the children who counted the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. These are the candles bought for the cake made by Mama Marta, who hurried the children who counted the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. I would love if you would read along with me. These are the nieces who placed the candles bought for the cake made by Mama Marta, who hurried the children who counted the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. This is the family who yelled, "Happy birthday!" and laughed with the nieces who placed the candles bought for the cake made by Mama Marta, who hurried the children who counted the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. This is Papa Louis, who was surprised by the family, who yelled, "Happy birthday!" and laughed with the nieces who placed the candles who bought for the cake made by Mama Marta, who hurried the children who counted the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. Oh, I wonder if it's a tradition in their family to do all of this for every birthday. Do you have a tradition in your family on birthdays? These are the friends who danced with Papa Louis, who was surprised by the family, who yelled happy birthday and laughed with the nieces, who placed the candles bought for the cake made by Mama Marta, who hurried the children, who counted the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. This is the bird brought by the friends who danced with Papa Louis, who was surprised by the family, who yelled, "Happy birthday!" and laughed with the nieces who placed the candles bought for the cake made by Mama Marta, who hurried the children, who counted the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. This is the clown that followed the bird, brought by the friends who danced with Papa Louis, who was surprised by the family, who yelled "Happy birthday!" and laughed with the nieces who placed the candles bought for the cake made by Mama Marta, who hurried the children, who counted the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. Oh my, this is the stick swung by the clown who followed the bird brought by the friends who danced with Papa Louis, who was surprised by the family, who yelled "Happy birthday!" and laughed with the nieces who placed the candles bought for the cake made by Mama Marta, who hurried the children, who counted the candy that filled the piñata that hung at the party for Papa Louis. The end. Oh my, what a fun birthday. Have you ever swung at a piñata? All right, let's read our fourth and final book. Viva Frida. Now, we did read a Frida book already, but this one is a special book that I wanted to read because it earned a Caldecott Honor Award, which means that its pictures are really special. And it also earned the Pura Belpré Award, which is an award that's given to someone who writes a story where Hispanic culture is celebrated. Viva Frida, Yuyi Morales. Now, there is Spanish behind the English words. I am. I. Search. I see. What do you see in this picture? Aha! I play. I know. I dream. And I realize that, what do you think she realizes? I feel. Oh, that reminds me of one of our morning shares. You share with the class or a friend the feeling that you have. And I understand. That I love. And create. And so I live. The end. I loved reading these 4 special books with you this evening. I'm looking forward to continuing to learn about Hispanic heritage with you. And I can't wait to learn about the different heritage months throughout the year. Have a great night. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.